All right, we're good. All right, welcome everybody to tonight's Board of Commissioners meeting. It is September 4th and it is 6 p.m. And we will begin the meeting with call to order and Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join me. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up is amendment and approval of the agenda, and I know we have a couple of things on here. So under, let's see, discussion action items, which would be 7, we'll add
7C.
7C. And 7C will be the results of executive session. Is that the right way to term it or state it?
I was,
Outcome, direction?
action from.
We'll say action from executive session. And then D. D would be, we'll add an agenda item, which will be
Schedule a special meeting.
schedule a special meeting relating to public safety in Curry County. All right, and then, John, you wanted to add another one?
Well, and could we add it to consent agenda? And that would just be the proclamation for making September Suicide Awareness Month? Does it-
No, we can add that to the consent agenda, and then we can give Mr. Clay an opportunity to
Okay.
speak.
And it's just, would be taking last year's proclamation and resolution and making it 2024.
So we would add that under consent agenda D.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Anything else? Did I miss anything?
I don't.
I have nothing else.
No. All right, then I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, motion passes 3-0. So next up is our presentation on solid waste nuisance report. So Ted?
So this has been an ongoing issue down on near Kifrilla Road for over a year, been quite some time. The neighbors, numerous neighbors have contacted my office, the code enforcement, sheriff's office, all at all levels to get some attention on what they deem to be a public nuisance. And in reading our code, it's any person can come before the Board of Commissioners and present evidence, and the Board of Commissioners can make a decision whether the evidence presented meets with the qualifications as a public nuisance here in Curry County, and if so, as I read the rule, if if after the presentation you determine that there is enough evidence to warrant that it's a public nuisance, then I believe the next step would be to schedule a show cause hearing and bring the accused person for, to have them present here in front of you, and talk about what they might do to alleviate it, and if that doesn't work out, if there's not a basically a solution that's carried out at that point, then we would refer it to our county sheriff's office for enforcement. So right now, I believe the neighbors have gotten together. They want to present some of their evidence. And when I talked to them, I told them that it was important that the evidence be current. And there are certain things within our code that qualify a situation as a public nuisance. Our code, as I look at it, and going forward, we might want to take a closer look at our code. But right now, they feel they've got enough to go forward. There's certain things that do qualify as that basically the nuisance that's affecting adjacent property owners and the public in general. So I'd ask that whoever wants to go forth can come up and start. I think there are three of you that are going to do this, or are there more?
So I think Don would be probably the one best to go first.
Yeah. Okay.
Don, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, step on up.
And I'll probably be the only one who needs to speak. But
Okay,
maybe
okay.
somebody else will have
Speak
something
on-
to say.
You'll speak on behalf of the rest of the
Yeah, I
individuals
think
here.
so.
So I've got Don, Richard, and Kristen. So if Richard and if you guys want to speak, you can. If you don't, you can yield to Don. Yeah, that's the microphone,
Get
Don.
right up on this mic.
Just state your
Perfect.
state your name and
Where you live.
where you live.
Sure. My name's Don Stasenka. I live on House Rock Road, which is the neighborhood, House Rock, Mount Bridia. And we just kept it to a real minimum here to try to keep things simple. And if we hadn't, we'd be standing room only here. We've got a neighborhood that's really concerned. We've given you all packets on information. I think you've already been briefed before that. So hopefully you've got a pretty good background on what's going on.
Yeah, I've received, I don't know if you guys, but I've received probably a dozen letters. from
Probably a
concerned-
lot of letters and
And did I talk,
pictures.
Don? Did I talk to you on the phone?
We haven't talked, we've emailed.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Basically, the people who would like to be here and didn't come because it would be too crowded, we've got letters and notes of concern in those packets that you've got.
I've also been there and talked to some of the residents, and it's affecting everybody adjacent to it.
Yeah, big time, big time. And so I don't want to take up any more of your time than necessary. I've got a really short statement to make.
Go ahead.
In that information that you've got, there's a timeline, there's a summary of the timeline. This has been going on since February. We've gone through, as Ted said, we've gone through just about every agency out there, and basically everybody's kind of pointing a different direction to go to, and we're exhausting everything that we can do. So hopefully you can help us, and we're hoping with a lot of optimism that's the case. So quick statement, my neighborhood's been patiently trying to request enforcement on a case that involves illegal toxic burning, human waste, rodent infestation, hazardous debris dump site, transient people, possible illegal drug activity, and a summertime fire hazard to the community, and not just our neighborhood, but I'm talking about the whole community. We live in a wooded area, and as we all know, once it starts up, it's hard to put it back. We've been fighting to get this property cleaned up since February, when it was discovered in the backwoods, at the same time as an out-of-control fire was discovered by me. This is located in a clean residential neighborhood, acre-sized lots. We've tried patiently to work with DEQ, the Forest Warden, County Sheriff, Cape Farella Fire Department, County Code Enforcement. Corey at the Code Enforcement was trying to make a difference with compliance citations until he was dismissed, and then we kind of got left in limbo, I think, sort of. Each and every agency has pointed the finger at the other agencies, and we're just left wondering what to do. Seems pretty clear. I think he's been cited for misdemeanors. It seems pretty clear that there's laws that have been broken, that there's codes that are violated, and we would really, really appreciate some backup on this. That's it. That's all I got.
I have a couple of questions.
And I hope this could be a question and answer and not just a monologue. Yeah.
Yeah, so on, one of the things that does seem to apply pretty well, can you tell us about the rat infestation? Because that's the thing that can, is that affecting adjacent neighbors, or?
Absolutely. And I don't know how you want to handle that, but we've got affected people here. This couple has got rat infestation.
I'm next door to him. My well is between his house and my house. It cost me $540 to have it appropriately diagnosed, examined in Coos Bay by the request of the DEQ director, Marty Abs. I've had 2 trees full of pack rat nests. They're 6 feet in diameter. And I've had mouse droppings, rat infestation in my crawl space.
I'm going to interrupt you, ma'am. Can you just step up to the podium so we can hear you?
You could hand her that mic.
Well, I think we need her to step up. So it helps Natasha, who's recording what we're doing. And just state your name so we know who you are. Thank you.
I'm Barbara Western. I've just remarried. I was Barbara Edmiston. And I wasn't so concerned until I found all this debris in my trees, pack rats, mice, droppings, and he's finding places where they're crawling in. We had to put mesh wire around the baseboard of my kitchen. And I sat there for 2 nights after that had been placed and heard scratching. They were trying to get in. And I don't want to take up more of your time, but
No, but Barbara, what you're experiencing, is that happening now? It's happening today?
yeah, yes.
Okay. Okay.
It hasn't been diminished.
Okay.
What about the well, Barbara? What kind of water?
I do have that. I don't know if you saw this, but this was, Gold Beach comes and retrieves the water sample for the Coos Bay office, so I don't have to drive up there. But it was $540. It gives an analysis of 35 different specimens. I mean,
What's the date on that, Barbara?
that is March 22nd, 24.
Okay.
And I'm wondering how often now I will have to do this examination of my water. I fear for the fact that there's contaminants leaching from no septic tank over there and dark water from a mobile home and a travel trailer. They have strung lighting cords together, electricity, and water through a garden hose. I don't know what else I can tell you because that's how it's impacted me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kristen or Richard, would you guys like to speak?
I'm Kirsten Anderson. My husband is Richard Wickstrom, and our address is 95628 House Rock Road, which is very close to the turnoff to Mount Berisha. So I'm the one who put together the packet of information. And I also, of course, sent you all letters with pictures, et cetera. But basically, the piece on the top lists all of the sections of the Article 6 and the photographs, and then corresponds, lists the photographs that corresponds with that section. So it kind of does all the homework. You know, it takes that section from the article and says, you know, section 1A of that article, and here's a photograph that demonstrates how he is, how he's, what do I want to say? Violating that article. So, so I think it's pretty clear. These photographs are current. I went over there and stealthily took photographs.
Okay.
Good for you.
And, and spent a good half hour taking all the photographs I could of all the violations that I saw. And I think what you'll see in here is that there's a lot of hazardous material. And that's what we're most concerned about because of the fire. And as Dawn said, you know, we are surrounded by trees. So if something should start again, you'll see one of the photographs in there that Dawn took during, like on the third page. Some of those are from Dawn, where he took them during the fire. And fortunately, the Cape Furlough Fire Department was able to come down and put that out, but they were absolutely furious because what they found when they got down there, as you can see, are tanks of propane and a lot of other hazardous stuff. So they were just, as I said, furious about the whole thing. But
So-
anyway, those photographs are actually current photographs. They're not back from February. They're from, I think, early July. So,
So according to the photographs, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
it appears that there's some photographs that were taken after the fire.
yes,
Right.
most of them.
And then those photographs are depicting some propane tanks and some material there that's very, yeah. But then in the recent photos, in the
Yes.
recent photos that you took, we're seeing a lot of the same things.
Right. The only ones that are Dawn's photos from the fire are on the third page, Those are the only ones from the fire. Everything else is current.
So based on the photographic evidence, that would indicate that there was a fire and then the same behavior and practices are reoccurring and they're right back
We
to,
brought in a whole bunch new stuff,
okay,
And,
okay.
you know, all kinds of, yeah. And you're right, there's propane, but there's also gasoline, all kinds of gasoline. You'll see the little red, you know, plastic tanks of gasoline. There's 12 abandoned vehicles, and so forth.
12, huh?
So, and the only other thing I want to point out, I guess, is that he's a very kind of clever guy. He's already been cited twice. He's had fines and hasn't paid them.
Has he, did you say he has paid them?
I don't believe he has.
Okay.
We can't find any record. He's been asked to show up for hearings. He's never shown up. We have, but he hasn't. And so I don't believe if you ask him to come for a hearing that he probably will show up. And I don't believe if you find him, he will pay it. And the only thing I guess I'm worried about is we hear little inklings of he's planning to take off. And if he does that, you know, then what do we do? So we're really worried. We're really, really, really concerned. And wondering what the heck is going to happen with this mess. You know, it doesn't seem like we've got any teeth. You know, it doesn't seem like anything's really going to happen. And we're all just sitting there, you know, feeling really helpless and sort of feeling like this guy's sitting there thumbing his nose at, you know, at the government and the powers that be and really throwing the rest of us the
Yeah.
finger, you know, and just saying, you know, ha ha, catch me if you can. And nobody seems to be able to do that. So I guess that's all I've got to say. But I really hope you guys can figure out a way to catch him and to do something to to fix this situation, because we're feeling very, very helpless and a bit hopeless right now, and like the government can't do anything for us. You know,
Yeah.
you guys really can't help us.
And a lot of people feel that way about so many things right now.
Oh, I know, I
And-
know.
and
But it just seems
I
like there
know,
should be
I know.
something that you guys could do with him, you know?
Well,
But I don't know.
what we will do is we'll follow the law. We'll follow our county policies and procedures, and we'll do what's ethically appropriate. That's what we're gonna do.
Okay, okay.
All right.
Is that all for speakers?
Is there anyone else that would like to speak about this?
I wouldn't mind, I didn't do a card though.
Sure.
Sure, step on up to the microphone. Just tell us who you are.
Yeah, I'm Carol DiStefano, and I'm Don's wife, and live on House Rock Road as well. And I just wanted to kind of emphasize the fear. I mean, we're all there in fear when I talk to my neighbors. You know, the one on one side is like, man, we were this close, I feel like we were this close to the whole area burning down. You know, what if that happens again? He's got young kids. You know, another woman, is it Kathleen up the street, that has little kids that's concerned about the refrigerators and freezers that, have the hinges on them and stuff. And, this is in their backyard, and people coming and going, and people, arguing loudly in the street at night. And last week it was, 3 days in a row of dog fights, and it sounded like, some little dog was getting torn apart by some bigger dog. And, it's just this constant thing. And every time we hear somebody over on that corner, Don's kind of like on guard. It's like, what's going on now? We live in this constant sort of, wondering when the next shoe's going to drop, what's going to happen next. So I just wanted to say that I think that there needs to be a little urgency behind, finally getting something done, make a change about it, so that, the rest of us can feel like we can relax a little bit and live in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've had one fire, and the photographic evidence is very clear that past practice predicts future behavior. So he's redoing what he did prior to the last fire now. So that's concerning.
I was just gonna say that I think that one of the things that, I mean, since we have evidence of a rodent infestation, that's listed in our code, and that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
I think some of the other ones might be a little bit, harder to prove, harder to verify, but since we have pictures of areas that are, that's where they come from, that's where they propagate, and they're actually invading the neighbor's house. I've had clients who've had their houses invaded by rat infestations. In fact, there were so many rats in one place down on Alder Ridge Road that they actually ate an entire mobile home. They ate the whole thing except for the frame. And the metal. They ate everything that wasn't. I didn't know you'd ever want to eat the cabinets, but when you get hungry enough, you eat the cabinets. So I mean, it's a legitimate threat to people's safety. There's disease, and there's also just damage to the property. So,
Well, just to add, and this would be in a different aspect, but, well, it would be right here for section G, where buildings or structures in such condition that have become useless or dangerous for the purpose of habitation, shelter, or storage for any other purpose. I have relevant information to confirm that the trailers have been rented and inhabited, along with this. So I can bear witness to that as well. And looking at this over, Ted, direct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that maybe what we do is we schedule notice under 6.01.050.
Yeah.
But in doing public in issuing notice, What about the potential of dispatching Garrett, who's very knowledgeable in this from past dealings, to perform an investigation?
Because we know there's housing
Go
occurring.
confirm that investigate to go out and
Permit
and-
violations or something?
If we have specific knowledge about the areas being habitable or inhabited, and we've got people that have made that have asserted they were living in there and so forth, then I think that's certainly enough justification to send Garrett in to inspect the premises. I know we did that down on right off Hampton
Yep.
Road, so that was.
a very similar
Yeah.
scenario.
Now, in that scenario, Garrett's a building inspector and he's big and tough, but I do like to send law enforcement with him. That was, in
Well,
fact, that day.
We had
We needed
multiple
that, yeah.
agencies assisting, but
One question I have also is, can we get some type of a fire inspection there? Can we get, is
That's kind of out of our, I mean, I think Garrett can perform.
Can we coordinate that? Because we've had one fire, we have evidence that it's likely to occur again because he's doing the same thing. And if we're gonna inspect those buildings, then,
well, yeah, and I think Garrett, like I said, I think Garrett will be able to determine that.
okay.
And if he needed assistance from the captain at Cape Farello, I'm sure he could request that. But if we put the notice and in such a way that, we say we're going to notice this and basically serve the owner with the request to appear for in front of us to face penalties,
Yeah,
then having the information that Garrett may be able to provide would assist.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but did you say that the captain of the Cape Farello Fire Department would be good to have along with him there? 'Cause
If-
I know that he would be interested in.
Sure. If yeah, I think Garrett would be able to determine if it would be appropriate to have him join to inspect that as well. Right. Right. Correct. And so I think if we set notice in, potentially, I don't know what's reasonable, 2 weeks, a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I think there's some urgency here,
I
so,
do too. So if we said we're going to serve for notice in 2 weeks to hear this, because of these we identified violations, we can also direct Garrett to go do some additional investigations as well.
Yep.
Take it on the 19th of this month, the next regular BOC meeting?
yeah, we can do that. That's
That's
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks in a day.
So we would have a special meeting prior to this meeting to hear this. It would be a hearing.
Okay.
Just like this, basically, we have it in the beginning of the meeting.
At the beginning of the meeting, we'll have a hearing, kind of like what we do with the dog scenarios.
Yeah.
And we would issue a judgment on how to move forward.
So we should be here in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah.
So do we need a motion for that, Ted?
Yes.
So I'll move that we notice the tenant at 18835,
The owner.
the owner at 18835 Mont Brita Lane, Brookings, Oregon 97415, for a hearing pending the outcome of an investigation on violations of our nuisance ordinances.
I'll second that motion.
All right, motion and a second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Step up to the microphone, sir. Thank you.
Richard Wickstrom. The owner is in New York. He hasn't been there for a while, and I don't know how you get into this hearing.
If he fails to appear, then we would move forward
And then you'd go, just have a lane and take care of it?
Well, that'll all be having to be discussed when we get to that point.
Okay, thank you.
And
Okay.
I'm sorry, one more question. That investigation will occur between now and the 2 weeks?
Correct.
Okay. Awesome.
Any other questions, anybody, while you're here? You probably don't want to stay for the whole meeting. I know they're pretty exciting, but you definitely,
More
you
than
definitely
welcome to
don't.
make your way back
Yeah.
now.
You-
We will not be offended if you don't stay.
So Will Cushman, I'm directly across from 95672 House R Code. So what evidence could we provide at that hearing that would be a slam dunk for you? Because I saw Kirsten's packet, for example, and it's like, here's the code, here's the violation, code violation. Like that was
Right.
to me like
Yeah.
very, very clear. Like, is there something? Because we'll get it to you because it's there. So if there's something where you're like, it would help if we had.
I think that
It'll be there.
evidence of the rodent infestation on your property, any kind of evidence that you may have will also strengthen, I would say, this nuisance.
If you had on as regarding the well, like if I had previous reports and then you could compare to current, so you could see if you could see what, the issue there is if
Contamination.
yeah, if the rodent droppings are appearing in the well water, there's some reference to that, but I don't know, have you had it done before?
No, I have to do it now because of his involvement with contamination.
Okay. All right, we'll see. So I think we'll just have to go with what we got right there. But then otherwise, the goal would be to have have the county representative on the property and, be able to look at those structures. The issues, I mean, I think that we might, if we can get a statement from people that were actually living on the property, that would go a long way as well, so.
And you don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, so any opportunity to take a picture or a video that's something egregious or impactful to any of you, take advantage of.
Except let's try to minimize the stealth.
Yeah. Yeah, no covert ops, okay?
Don't put yourselves in
Yeah,
jeopardy.
in harm's way.
Yeah.
We already are.
Well, I'm in terms of encroaching on the property.
Yeah.
Try to get that information from your own.
Yeah.
You can, and
A bit of fear that I have of retribution.
Yeah.
If he's in the courtroom with me,
no.
what will he do to me, knowing that I'm next door?
Well, he's not
you
going
don't
to
need
do
to
anything.
We'll-
When you're in this room, you're going to be safe.
Yes. Absolutely.
And just to put it out there, everything Don said, everything Kirsten said, and Barbara said, but going back to what Carol said, just we're annoyed, angry, but just mostly scared. So
Yeah.
thank you for this action. We appreciate you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for coming tonight.
Dave?
You're welcome.
Is that Dave Western? I know Dave. It has been a while. You changed a little. Yeah. You remember Dave and Glenda and yeah. Wow, good to see you. I thought I recognized you. Okay, that's okay. At your age, you can carry a purse. I'll do it. Yeah, he was good friends with my brother.
All right, moving forward in the agenda, next up is another presentation, Del Norte Performing Art Center.
Rick, you have a yep, she's going to turn this on for your PowerPoint presentation. So what you will have to do is she has to run it from the back, so when you need to change slides, just say next.
Perfect, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Well, I come from the music industry. It sounds like we need the Pied Piper of Hamelin.
So if you wouldn't mind, can I do a quick introduction?
Yes, please, thank you.
Yeah, so Nick contacted me in an effort. He is a big proponent of the performing arts in Curry and in Del Norte County. He has been responsible for providing over $100,000 worth of instruments and equipment to the Brookings Harbor High School band program and probably the junior high program. And he has a dream. And I'll let him explain that dream and how we can assist in him achieving it for our communities.
Is this where you got your coaching?
Which part?
Well, like when you did the acting, when you were in the play,
Yeah.
did you get some coaching?
Did Nick
That
work with
never
you?
occurred. It was a figment of your imagination.
No, I saw it. I was there. It was.
Again,
It was.
you
I
had-
can't remember the name of the show, but I just wondered if that's where you got your training.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Go ahead, sir.
Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioner, thank you for the opportunity to speak. It's a true privilege. My name is Nick Rail, and I am here on behalf of the Partnership for the Performing Arts, a 501c3 nonprofit based in Crescent City, whose primary purpose is to support the performing arts in public education in Del Norte and Curry counties. Secondarily, to support community groups, and thirdly, to bring touring groups and performers to the area. I joined school band in 1959 back in the Paleozoic at Redwood Elementary School in Fort Dick, which over time led to a very successful career in music retail down south. When it came time to sell my 6 stores in 2019, the decision was an easy one to endorse the entire check over to a donor-advised fund to support arts and youth here, where it all began for me so many years ago. The economy I left 50 years ago was sound because of fishing and timber. But those days are long gone, and in addition to being rural and remote, we are in many ways a resource desert. My wife, Lisa, and I moved back home in 2021. I rolled up my sleeves and got to work. The Partnership for the Performing Arts, or PPA, has accomplished a lot in a short period of time. We've given over 500 new band instruments to Del Norte and Brookings Harbor School Districts, enough so that any child who wishes to play will not be denied the chance due to the lack of an instrument. And as Jay mentioned, since moving back home, we have given over $100,000 worth of band instrument, orchestral instruments, and sound reinforcement to Brookings Harbor School District. The Friends of Music, a Brookings-based nonprofit with a 38-year legacy of bringing live classical music to the area, hit the wall in 2022. Their president passed away, the vice president turned 80, the treasurer moved out of state, and they asked us for help, and it was a win for them, for the Partnership for the Performing Arts, and especially for classical music lovers in the greater Brookings area. The series holds 7 concerts a year of nationally and internationally acclaimed musicians, bringing cultural enrichment to an area where many cannot afford to go to the world. With the shift to PPA, most of the artists are now contracted to also do outreach in the local schools. Excuse me. Our flagship project is building an 800-seat performing arts center adjacent to the band room at Del Norte High School in Crescent City. With the vision of students first, community second, and commercial use third, Del Norte Unified will have first shot at the calendar, Brookings Harbor School District will have second, and community groups and touring and so forth come in second and third and fourth. The center is a $50 million project. PPA is responsible for the capital campaign. The district is in charge of design, bid, build, and will own it, and PPA will run it. My wife Lisa and I have publicly pledged $1 million to this project, and we are working tirelessly to raise the balance. The design is 95% done, and I would like to share the renderings. With luck, we will break ground in June of 2026 and open the doors in late 2027. So the architects are PBK Architects out of Dallas, Texas. They have 9 offices in California. They are the nation's largest institutional educational architect. They've been working with Del Norte Unified for about 8 years. And this is about 95% true of what the center will look like. It's on the Del Norte High School campus. It's facing Washington Boulevard. And those 4 panels on the upper left are Corten steel, which it oxidizes to that color. It's a wind and a rain break. It's perforated. One thing these drawings don't show, but the welcome pattern, the friendship pattern of the Taloa Dei Ni will be running across those 4 Corten plates. Next, please. Here we have the Wild Rivers Symphony, which is a group comprised of Crescent City, Brookings, and Gold Beach residents. They're on the stage at Crescent Elk Auditorium in this particular photo, and you can see they're just about ready to fall off the stage. The Crescent Elk Middle School and their 385-seat auditorium with an undersized stage is the only indoor concert appropriate facility in Del Norte County. There is no performing arts center on the Wild Rivers coast between Arcata and Florence, Oregon. Next, please. This is in the center, up near the top. 800 people can fit into this space, and the way the seats are arranged is there are 3 different widths, so there's no bad sight line. You can't sit and have somebody's head right in front of you, so everybody's got a good sight line to the stage. The wood on the right mimics the mountain range. Next, please. Here we've got Brookings Harbor High School music program. Always a delight to see these kids. And Corey Tamandong on the upper right there. He came into my store in Redlands starting in elementary, junior high school, because that's where he grew up before he came here. He's a fantastic band director. He plans to retire as the Brookings Harbor High School band director. He's very dedicated and doing a wonderful job. The program is growing. Next, please. And here's just some kids playing. Next. And Corey has an orchestra, which he's started 3 years ago. We are doing the same thing in Crescent City. We have a full complement of orchestral instruments, violin, viola, cello, and bass, bringing back to the Del Norte School District after an absence of orchestra in that school district of 75 years. So we have a little catch-up to do to catch up with Corey. There's a very, very friendly competition between those 2 campuses, and the kids all know each other, marching competitions, jazz competitions, and so forth. Next, please. Here we have the marching band for Brookings Harbor High School, and looking good there. And next, please. More marching. And those are some of the instruments that we gave to the program there. And here we have Corey up on the stage conducting. And next. Right. So this is one reason that building a performing arts center came to mind. This is Tune and Jim at Del Norte High School, and once a year they have all county music concert. And when I was performing in Tune and Jim back in the 60s, we grumbled about the hard seats, the lousy acoustics, and all. There's 580 kids on the floor here. The bleachers are completely full. They're live streaming this concert next door. That room is full. And there's parents in the hallway, and they're turning parents away. So that's a good illustration of why a performing arts center is needed. Next, please. Another shot of the front of the center. Next, please. And this is where it exists on the high school campus. This is the band room. This is a 20 by 50 square foot building that's a dedicated band instrument repair building. We teach, Partnership for the Performing Arts purchased a shop, and now they're teaching 2 classes a day of band instrument repair at Del Norte Unified, one of 4 programs in the U.S. like that. We're proud of that program. Next, please. Aerial view. Next, please. And you can see the backside of the Corten plates there and the simulated river walking along in front of the lobby there. Next, please. And a side shot of the front. Next, please. The lobby is large enough to be a contained conference area or wedding. It'll hold 150 people with the appropriate number of the 8-foot concert, 8-to-a-table conference, round conference tables. We've got stairways going up to the mezzanine level. There's also an elevator there. Next, please. here we are upstairs with 2 entrances to the mezzanine level. Next, please. And another shot of the lobby looking out toward the parking lot. Next, please. And here we are on stage looking at the control booth at the back of the hall. Next, please. And a final shot of what it feels like to be in the audience there. So I think that's the last shot. Oh, one more. How about that? So thank you. PPA's overall vision and center project have letters of support from Del Norte and Brookings Harbor School Districts, Southwestern Oregon Community College, SOU, the Brookings City Council, the Tallawah Dene, Elk Valley Rancheria, the UROC, the California Senate, U.S. California Representative Jared Huffman, and countless other city, county, state, and government agencies and organizations. And we would be proud and honored to be presented with a letter of support from the Curry County Board of Commissioners. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
One, you said, when did you join the band?
When did I join band? 1959. Back in
1959. You don't look that old.
74.
That's all right.
There we are. I rolled off the assembly line in 1950.
So what'd you play?
My first instrument was cornet, and when I got to high school, I took up trumpet. There was another kid that was better than I was, so I took up tenor saxophone. Then I went on to bassoon, went on to flute, went on to thinking I was going to be a band director, decided I didn't have a Corey Tamandong in me. I went into band instrument repair and then started opening up music stores. And with the repair background and the instrument method classes, I can play all the brass and woodwind at least in elementary level, chromatic scales up and down, all that.
Wow.
Guitar, piano.
When you first got your instrument, did the guy from Grants Pass come over? Is that where was that happening then?
No, it wasn't Larry's music from Grants Pass. It could have been, I'm not certain. Some person from a music store came. My father was making $1.25 an hour in a plywood mill. I have a brother and a father and a mother. And when this guy came and said, they did an assembly when I went into 4th grade, and they said, we're going to start a band. Who wants to play what? And they demonstrated the flute, the clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, and trumpet, cornet, same thing basically. I said, the cornet's the one for me. And I'm riding the school bus home, and I say, my dad makes $1.25 an hour. This is like 3-4 weeks worth. It's not going to happen. But I'm going to ask anyhow. And to this day, I don't know where they found the money. They said yes. So 3 things happened that day. The school offered band. My parents said yes. And I got to play. And even today, I've got best friends that were with me that first day I walked in that room in 1959.
And you grew up in Fort Dick?
Yes, on South Bank Road.
Okay.
So, and yeah.
The Bertolinis were there then?
Yeah, Rick Bertolini
Yeah,
was in
Rick.
my grade, you bet. Yeah, yeah.
Good friend.
Mm-hmm. And we work with April Boatman Bertolini. She does some of our social media
Oh
posts.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Perfect.
Kids in music and public education score 15% higher on SAT tests.
I believe it.
So they're more prepared to either enter the workforce, go to college, all that sort of thing, and be people who give back to society and take instead of taking from society.
I was forced to be in the band by my mother. She started a band at Pistol River School, and so I had to play the one bass instrument, the trombone. And I've never regretted it, but all those pictures of marching in the band, it was brutal. But it was a good character builder.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
Applaud you.
I would just like to also piggyback on a few things. So, because the
PPA.
Because the PPA has been so generous with the Brookings Harbor School District, it's really been able to elevate the interest in music to the point where, I call it like Corey's Army. Literally, so just toot Corey's horn a little bit. He was voted Educator of the Year. He has grown that program from wanting to resurrect marching band, to orchestra, to jazz. They not only do those things, as part of their school day, but they are also competitive. They compete everywhere from I think Reno. They've gone a lot of different places to compete, and I grew a different level of appreciation for Corey when I saw those kids out practicing in the rain. You have a picture of it, but I was there.
Yeah, they got plastic bags over their instruments.
Yes. And you could tell the kids were like, seriously. And he's just like, yeah, we're doing this. This is what it's all about. This is how it gets down. The thing that it has really, I was not band. I was in athletics. So I didn't have a real appreciation. But what I realized was Corey essentially was providing an outlet for so many kids that didn't fit in the circle that I was in. I'll self-proclaimed. Only reason I was probably graduated high school is because of sports. I showed up because of sports. And I see these kids doing the same with band. I mean, I have 5 or 6 of the kids that are in band that are employed with me. And, when band season rolls along, we miss them. But they are 100% bought in, and it's an incredible program. And so expanding that with your vision, bringing it to the community, I think is extremely honorable.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, band becomes the second family for pretty much any kid that's in it, and for the at-risk kids, single parent, unhoused, abused, suicide prone, it's the only reason they come to school.
Yep.
It becomes their primary family.
I can
So there's
attest.
a lot of different lenses to look through. This will also be a civic center. There's no good place to meet in Crescent City when there's an emergency. The fires we had last August, we met at the Ag Building or in the Art Building at the Fairgrounds, which was also the primary incident space. And there's one road in and one road out, and it's in the tsunami zone. Not
Yeah.
good. So town hall, meeting place,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, emergency services.
When the realization came strong for me when I realized there were more kids in band than there were in football.
Really? There are?
Yes.
Oh, it's because he's a great band director.
He is an incredible motivator.
And playing in a gym like that is like playing football in a gravel parking lot. Guaranteed. Probably worse.
Yeah.
The kids practice all year, and then they go into this little box that is just awful,
Well, the
awful
audi-
acoustics, and that's how we celebrate all their hard work.
The auditorium at Brookings Harbor High School can only fit maybe a quarter of the actual band members on the stage.
But if you want to be hot, go to one of those events.
Yeah, that's a good place to be. Yeah.
So, I would be in 100% support of supporting with a letter if we.
Thank you. In the fundraising process, we're in conversation with the Oregon Community Foundation, the Ford Family Foundation, with Val Hoyle, with Jeff Merkley, with Ron Wyden. When different things come up, we've got something in the House Appropriations Committee right now, and when we can refer to different letters of support from different entities, it all helps a lot.
Sure.
So, once again, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to you. I know we were out waiting while you were in closed session. Where are you from? Crescent City. What are you doing here?
Do you have a letter that we can put on our letterhead?
I sent you one, but didn't bring it.
Maybe she already. Maybe she already.
In the packet?
Apologize if you didn't get it. It's not in the folder.
I may have not passed it on to her, so
We can find it.
I will ensure that after we vote, to get it to you as soon as possible.
Yeah. I should have brought a copy.
I was hoping to
Gosh
be able
dog
to
it.
have you leave with one.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you for not letting that state line be a deterrent or anything.
When I was growing up, the state line was there because it was all about sports and I can't play football at my age, but I still play music.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and erasing the state line. When we first came back, it was Del Norte focused because that's where I grew up, but it didn't take long at all, just months before I realized that Curry County had to be part of the process. And Corey grew up in one of my stores. Dan Sedgwick grew up, the band director at Del Norte High School, in my Santa Barbara store. He worked for me 6 summers in my repair department. And he comes into the store one day and he says, "This is my last summer repairing for you because I got a job. It's out in the middle of nowhere. You never heard of it. It's a place called Del Norte High School." I said, "Well, there we go." And then Corey trained under Dan. He was interning with Dan before he came up to Brookings. So
What a legacy.
it's a very bright future for the performing arts
Yeah.
in Curry and Del Norte County. I'm sorry I can't build a performing arts centers in both cities. We worked initially with we had conversations with Friends of Music and Friends of the Library and Brookings Events and Concert Hall because they were working on a center and they couldn't do it. But we had to have the conversation of who's going to do it and who can't, because if we both proceeded, we knew neither would succeed. We'd just knock each other out. So, one of the back burners on the stove is how we get subsidized transportation between Brookings and Crescent City, especially for evening concerts for seniors. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Nick, yes, well done.
Yep.
And I did fail to get that to Natasha to do that. I'm sending it right now. Maybe she can print it so you have something to drive back with.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to do that right now.
Is it on the letterhead already?
Oh no. So I'll have to get it to you. I will get it to you because we need to transfer it onto our letterhead, make it.
Right, I kind of mocked up a letterhead for you.
Oh no, Natasha's very particular about the letterhead portion.
Right, okay.
So
Thank you all so much.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve that we sign a letter in support of the Del Norte Performing Arts Center, PPA.
PAC, Performing Arts Center, for PPA, the Partnership of Performing Arts.
For the Partnership of Performing Arts.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, motion passes 3-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Drive safe.
Thank you.
All right, now we're moving into public comments. And first up in public comments is Gordon Clay.
Oh, I think he wants to speak during the consent agenda, doesn't he? During that topic?
Well, we can do it then, or we can do it now.
I think probably work now.
Yeah, I guess it's right in front of consent agenda.
Gordon, you're up.
Yeah.
It is so true that the arts save kids' lives.
Mm-hmm.
Also shop.
Yep.
And really bear with me. You'll understand all of this in due time. For the record, my name is Gordon Clay from Brookings, Oregon. September is Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. The suicide rate in Curry County had been increasing every year since 2018, putting Curry County at the top 4 Oregon counties for suicides per 100,000 people. Interesting points in recent history. In 2021, 11 people died by suicide in Curry County, 8 of them by firearm. 4 of those were women. There are only 2 other counties where that happens at that rate. Men always outperform women in firearm suicides. In 2022, the number of suicides in Curry County rose to 15, the most we've ever had. In 2023, the Suicide Awareness and Prevention Council of Curry County revised the brochure that I'd been using in Coos and Del Norte County for a number of years. And the campaign expanded from 102 outlets in Curry County to 182 during that year. All those partners can be found at www.zeroattempts.org/partners.html. We also had a crisis text line program for youth primarily. It's better than texting 988. We also provided gun safety brochures, and not to take guns away, but to have them safe, since 72% of teens who die by a firearm use a firearm that they found in the home. We also developed a suicide prevention brochure. We adjusted a suicide prevention brochure for veterans and their families and distributed these throughout Curry and Del Norte County. In April-May of 2023, we produced a coaster program for all bars and bars with restaurants that to put on their tables, and this was to do April as Alcohol Awareness Month. Drink responsibly, tip recklessly. On the other side is Life is Better with You Here, and that's a suicide prevention program we were running for the state. Also that, and then in October, or in September of last year, people had wondered, well, how do we talk to somebody about suicide? Because 76% of people say they will want to help somebody, but they don't know how. On the other side, we printed how. So this was a carryover from the April-May program, and then this was done in September. Also done in September was a replacement of the program we did the year before with all of the coffee houses in Curry County, and that included Starbucks. By the end of 2023, the number of suicides in Curry County had dropped to 6 from 15. We think our grassroots program had something to do with that. A voice of concern. I'm a member of the executive committee of the Oregon Alliance to Prevent Suicide. In 1923, we had an opportunity to apply for a $20,000 grant from OHA to help our local council continue the programs through to 2024. Unfortunately, the council decided to pass on the opportunity. Fortunately, we had enough brochures and crisis wallet cards to last through 2024, but I ran out of placement holders. I spent 25 years in the advertising business and am a strong proponent of consistent messaging. While the suicide rates are always fluctuating, we have a major concern here in Curry County. As of July of this year, we've had 8 suicides already. And I don't know the August statistics, but that leaves us 4 months to turn things around, to get the information out, and to slow people down. To the commissioners and the county staff, a challenge. Work diligently to improve the behavioral health system in the county to get help for those who are not on OHP plan and have private health insurance, and to help those who aren't insured. We can sit back and maintain our number 3 ranking in the state for suicides per 100,000, and in a state that ranks 50th nationally for mental health, poor mental health. Granted, that takes some time, so it may be challenging, so I am challenging the citizens out there to pick up a brochure, learn what people are saying, doing, and what's going on in their life that are the risk factors, and then what to do about it. Pick up a copy, learn its teachings, and start the conversation. it could change a life.
Thank you, Gordon.
All right, thank you, Gordon.
You can start reading the proclamation while I pack.
Well, we have it on the consent agenda, so it's
Okay,
coming up.
okay, good, thanks.
While we're still under public comments, next up is Lynn Coker.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight. Natasha has managed the slides so wonderfully. I've got two topics tonight. One is to address the measure 8116 and let you know that the marketing efforts associated with voter turnout and getting people to do the right thing at the ballots, that's underway. We are going to be delivering about 100 signs like this here to Curry County. They're at the print shop as we speak. In addition to that, we will be doing a multi-phased campaign composed of neighborhood visits through the canvassing process. We will be attending events and such like that with flyers. We have letter writing campaigns through the editors and such like that. We've also been able to get both national as well as local media coverage, and that it'll all unfold over the next 10 weeks or so. So that's item number one. I just wanted you to know that that's happening. We're going to be needing around $3,500 in order to pay for all of the stuff that goes in to the flyers and the like. So if we can get the word out to the community that anytime they see us and or see the signs, they have an opportunity to donate to OregonAgainstWindTurbines.org. So that's OAWT.org. We've got an ability to use your credit cards there to the fullest extent. Second thing I wanted to talk about tonight, and that was back in early August, I had delivered to the Curry County, to the CCEC, and to their chief lender, CoBank, a note that explained my concerns relative to the debt that was building up with the CCEC. And I come to you to talk about that tonight because I would come to you if the jetty was falling apart. That's infrastructure that's critical for our county. It may not be under your immediate jurisdiction, but it is something for which you have the responsibility as well as the authority to engage on the citizens' behalf to protect infrastructure. Similarly, if I knew about the roads were collapsing, whether it was 101 where you have jurisdiction or not, I would come to you and I'd say, we need help handling this infrastructure issue. I'm coming tonight to share with you, probably some that you already know, that our Coos Curry Electric Corporation is in dire straits. If we would roll the videotape back to 2020, we'd look at that organization and we'd say, the operating statement is in pretty good shape. And we'd look at the balance sheet and we'd say the same thing, it's in pretty good shape. Roll the videotape forward to 2024. It is burdened with massive debt at this point, equal to approximately its assets, which in an infrastructure company is very, very precarious position to be in. In addition to the fact that we have burdened our organization with debt, we're in an environment where the cost of the electricity that the CCEC buys is evolving in the sense that no longer does the federal government or Oregon think that hydro energy, water or energy from the dams, is good. It's not good and green. So we're pulling that back, not just in Oregon, but in lots of places. And that means that the energy sources we have used for decades is being taken down. And we're going to be on the market looking for other energy, and it's going to be pleasantly green energy that the federal government and Oregon like. The problem is that it costs 3 to 4 times more than the energy that we're buying right now. So those of us who pay Coos Curry Electric, we're going to see our monthly bills go up because of the cost of the raw material. The electricity is going to go up. Besides that, we're sitting in a period of protracted inflation. And as a result of that, all of the costs that Coos Curry has to bear are going up. And so it's step by step, we're seeing that it's going to be incredibly hard to keep rates down. In other parts of the country that have had to go through similar sorts of things, the electrical rates have gone up 4 to 5 times. Get that, 4 to 5 times, shifting to the new energy. So I've come tonight to ask you to engage, and specifically, I would like to have you consider convening a working group with Coos Curry Electric and sitting around the table and talking about the challenges that they've got for the next 20, 30, 40 years in order to keep this infrastructure component together. And when you come together, it's not just to brush over things. I'm suggesting that you bring the CEO, you bring the board members, and you bring their auditor with them. And we talk about what are the strengths and weaknesses associated with the balance sheet and the operating procedures that they've got now, and we see what needs to be done over the next 3 to 5 years in order to right the ship. Because at this point, that ship is on its side. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn.
All right, that concludes general public comments. So next up is consent agenda.
Approval?
Second?
As amended, I guess, because we did make an amendment.
We did.
so.
And that includes our suicide proclamation. Thank you for the presentation, Gordon. So we have motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, motion passes 3-0. On to discussion action items. First up is to approve a bid for the Fairgrounds Arena roof. And I see our manager of the fairgrounds here. So I'm gonna force her to go to the podium. So this is something that's been talked about for a long time. It's something that, I mean, John, I think they were talking about this when you started here.
Yeah.
Long before that.
And it's an integral part of the fairgrounds, and we've had quite a few changes there with fair manager, fair board, and it looks like we're going to be able to move this forward. So, Terry, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, Terry Hughes here from the Curry County Fairgrounds, and I'm here tonight asking for the Board of Commissioners' approval and County Council to move forward on repairing the arena roof. We have gotten, in my time of being here, at least 5 bids. There were some prior to me coming on. We've revised those and looked over them, and the board, the Fair Board, approved a bid that we would like to accept with your approval to move forward.
So obviously this is not coming out of our general fund money, so it's important for the public to understand. And this will really change the ability to use the fairgrounds and some of the events that we can have there and some of the quality of events. So there's been a lot of discussion on this with the Fair Board, and I support this 100%.
We have a grant through Business Oregon that's just kind of waiting for all of this approval for $277,000. That would be applied completely to that roof, and that would leave the fairgrounds with a balance of about 153 going towards that roof also. We have that in the TLT funds for capital improvements, and we'd like to move forward on those repairs.
I'll make a motion to approve Fair Board recommendation for arena roof repair and replacement.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, guys.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, next up is planning services contract.
So we have been we've been reaching out to get some additional help to keep up with the demand and address the backlog that we found when we had to come in and kind of reorganize the planning department. We're still working on that. This is a step in that direction where we found an organization. Our planner, I believe, Zach Moody, reached out to them for additional assistance. And this group will be working just doing planning clearances, which is a time-consuming thing for the county to address, and they'll be doing it for a flat fee of $200 each. We're going to try that, see how that works, and see. I don't know that we will be continuing with our fee for planning clearances at $550. That's what we had estimated it was costing us to do. But with this new approach, it might be cheaper. And if it is, then I'm going to be coming back and asking to lower those rates. So. We'll try it out and see what other, related costs are involved in getting those addressed. Right now, Rabia is doing an awful lot of the work, and I know we don't like to pay Rabia, but we do want to at least give her accolades for her great efforts.
So deserved. So I'm glad that we're examining the options here. I know planning has been hindered greatly by the budget reductions, and so do they offer any? When you discussed with this organization, did they offer any average length of time per approval or anything of that nature?
I don't recall. It's going to be a fairly quick turnaround, though. I mean, they're with the amount of money they're charging, they want to get it in and out the door. So, yeah. I think we're just going to see how it works, and I think it's going to definitely be an improvement on what we've been doing.
And we'll still be doing the low level planning clearances here. Is that with our 0.5 FTE?
Well, basically bring the applications in. That's what.
That'll be
that's what that
conduit
could be,
essentially, right, for the public.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'll move to approve the agreement with Western Investments LLC for planning clearance processing as needed. Second.
All right, I think this is good too. Anything we can do to speed that process up. We've heard a lot from our contractors and how they're struggling. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes. Yes.
And yes, motion passes 3-0. Next up is C. That's action from executive session.
I'll move to approve that we direct Ted to move forward as discussed in executive session. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes. Yes.
And yes, motion passes 3-0. And then next up is special, this would be, I don't know if it's an emergency meeting or a special meeting related to public safety in Curry County.
Special meeting.
Yeah, I think special meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's important that we have this discussion. In all hope that all the parties that will provide information can attend the meeting. But I would certainly be in support of having this sooner rather than later. We have a lot of issues that are essentially somewhat unclear that we need to have some clarified for the public. That's the duty and obligation that we have to our community. So I don't know about a date, but I would recommend that we look at it sooner rather than later.
So I'm just going to address a couple things here because I want to be as transparent as we can be with the public. So we had executive session today. That's no secret. It was a lengthy executive session. It is directly related to liability, litigation, and potential litigation to the county. And we had requested that Sheriff Ward attend, and Sheriff Ward did not attend that executive session. So we were unable to get the answers and information we needed that is related to those issues. However, there are other issues that we are facing in this county related to public safety. And I know that I get letters, I get emails, I get phone calls, and I get text messages every day about the public safety situation in this county. And it is failing. We also have a situation with jail staffing right now. We are working 12-hour shifts, and we have several people that may leave the county to go to other employment. If that happens at the same time, then we won't have enough people to staff the jail. I have not seen or heard any plans on how to deal with that, so I have been working on those independently. But quite frankly, we need the sheriff to answer questions, and we need him to be involved, okay? And we need him to attend the meetings, and we need him to, we need help.
I would agree, and there's a lot of questions. I don't know. I'm sure you guys may take on a lot of these questions. As we are essentially, as Lynn had eloquently discussed, we are kind of the first point of contact a lot of times for the public, especially when they have questions, and it's hard to be able to give any answers when we don't necessarily have them. But you know, there's a lot of questions that I field regarding what are we responding to? What are we going out on in terms of calls? That's in particular a lot of the communities. There's been several individuals who have called in things that they're not sure if they're going to get a call back, or if their situation warrants a call back with protocols the way they are. I did try to gain some information in terms of how many, just trying to grasp, kind of the volume of what's happening, and requested at how many referrals we have to the district attorney in comparison to 2023, and it was a bit shocking, to say the least. In 2023, we had the Curry County Sheriff's Office had 47 referrals to the district attorney's office for prosecution. In 2024, for the month of August, we had 6, through 2 which were unattended deaths, and 1 was a referral from much earlier in the year. So I think it would be good to get some of this dialogue and discussion out to the public, so that everybody kind of understands what's happening.
And I don't believe juveniles had any referrals.
From the sheriff's office?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's been any in the 52 days since the budget's been cut. So that's a lot of, juvenile can't do anything if those kids aren't in the system. So what's happening there?
Yeah, and I don't have those answers.
I don't either.
So
I don't either. And, we were told about the 137 reports that were incomplete. So what's happening with those?
Right. you know, and in the end, I mean, I think that our the public, you know, it might be hard answers, it might be tough answers, but I think the public still do those answers. They might not be what everybody wants to hear, but it's important to at least have the information.
Well, and we need to change what we're doing. And we need a plan. And so if I understand the purpose of the meeting, it would be to discuss this and more, and to ask these questions and more, and to discuss some steps that we might be able to take to make some changes. Is that my understanding of this meeting?
That's how I viewed it. I
Okay.
don't know exactly how you guys viewed it, but I think we need to, you know, have that hard conversation. What is it going to look like? What does it currently look like? What can be expected going into the next year? We have, I mean, as soon as we're done just with budget, we have to start planning for the next one. You know, we have to have those conversations. But we need to first know exactly what is, what our current budget is providing, utilizing the $1.2 million of road funds and you know, it's a total of $1.6 million in road patrol. And you know, I think that's just one aspect. It doesn't include the jail or, you know, what's going on in some of the other potential departments. But I think it would be due time to give our public an update.
Okay. So we need to do this sooner than later. I'd like to do it Friday.
I'm good Friday. Okay. What I'm open Friday.
How about 1 p.m.?
1 p.m. seems. Can we do like 1:30?
Sure. We can do 2.
Just 1:30 is good. It'll give some individuals who may want to come up from South County their opportunity to get to lunch and then make it up here.
Okay.
1:30. Or from North County.
So we'll have the meeting, special meeting to address public safety concerns in Curry County on Friday, the 6th at 1:30. And I know the sheriff is watching or will watch, so, and we can send an email out too, Ted? Can we send him an email?
Yeah, I'll send him an email. Yeah.
And Sheriff, I hope you can attend. We have a lot of questions. The public has a lot of questions, and we need some answers. Any further discussion on that?
No, sir.
All right. Then on to elected official updates.
Well, Director of County Operations update.
I always skip that.
It's all right.
I don't really have anything to add at this time. I've sent out a lot of emails and gotten no answers, so.
Unfortunate. All right, elected official updates. Sorry, I always skip that, Director of Operations. I don't know why. Commissioner-elect Hollinger's here. Would you like to say anything, Patrick? All right, on to Commissioner
Show off that hairdo?
Yeah, the haircut? You want to show the haircut? Come on, show the haircut.
The one where it's all disappeared?
Oh, wow. Wow.
You'll fit right in.
Oh, your wife's never gonna leave you alone again.
All right, Commissioner updates. Commissioner Herzog.
I have nothing, sir.
The only update that I have, well, no, I have actually a couple. First and foremost, on terms of Citizen of the Month and Business of the Month for the county, I only have 2 nominations. as this grows and we get more momentum, I'm hoping we get more participation from the community on this. But Amanda and Tyler Travis from Brookings, who have been spearheading youth activities there. They run the Little League as well as the Brookings Youth Basketball League. So they are tied up for many months of the year, volunteering their time to keep kids engaged. Very honorable, and so I would like to, with your guys' consensus, award them the September Community Members of the Month. We can present that to them in October, or in September. And for the business, it was Remax Coast and Country, who does a lot of community stewardship in terms of fundraising, donating, participating. They're always participating in the festivals and parades. They'll bring a lot of community pride to the area. Most recently, they conducted the Caitlin's Cause Foundation fundraiser. It took a lot of work. Their entire team helps out with this. They create a community of charity within their organization, and so I think it's another honorable organization to appreciate.
Rained on their parade this year, didn't it, a little bit?
No, not when it was time.
Okay, all right.
Prior to, they lost some teams, but they have some great plans to expand for next year's fundraising efforts for Caitlin's Cause. And for anybody who doesn't know, Caitlin's Cause is a 100% donated benefit to the children of Dornbecker to receive gifts during their stay, to help them through the process of going through their treatments. They provide a lot of smiles, a lot of relief, and just a lot of hope. And it's definitely a worthy cause, headed up by Chris and Molly Wallace. So if you guys are okay with that,
Yeah,
I will
absolutely.
work with Miranda to get that prepared. Secondly, I want to give an update on the wind. So Ted and I and Commissioner-elect Hollinger and Rabia met with an individual, had some discussions about potential avenues in terms of moving forward with a recent BOEM announcement that they will be moving forward with the leasing of the call areas October 15th. So I think we will have a plan to move forward with that. Ted, we probably have to get something on the next agenda for approval to move forward with that. I'm also, Travis from the port reached out to me, so I will go down and present to the Port Commission the third Wednesday of this month at 2 p.m. To try to get them to take a formal stance on this wind energy program. You know, one of the things that Lynn hit on that I don't want to leave short is when he talked about the expense. Now, I don't know exactly, and I should know because I pay the bill, what our current cost is per kilowatt. But I remember it being in the cents. And it was in the single cents.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Do you know what it is, John?
Like 9.67?
9.67 cents. So
Don't quote me, but it's somewhere right around in there.
So I want to put into perspective exactly what Lynn just mentioned. So right now, the average cost per kilowatt on land-based windmills is 13.1 cents per kilowatt. That's on land-based turbines. Ocean-based turbines The ones that are currently developed, that are much smaller in scale, is 32 cents per kilowatt. Now, you put into perspective that we're facing a potential project that they do not have developed. The R&D is not solid, and the scope is so much larger in terms of sheer size that I can only estimate that the 31 cents will pale in comparison to what it will cost to bring any of this energy off our coastline to shore. So just so people have a full understanding that it not only will impact, our view sheds, our ecological, ocean layout, but it will have a tremendous impact on your quality of life, and we need to know and understand that.
It's not even going to be for Oregon.
Correct. And it's not even going to be for Oregon. Most likely, it's not going to be for anywhere in Oregon. So I wanted to give an update on that to you guys, and then also on Monday at 7 p.m. I'm going to be doing a presentation for the Brookings City Council on the wildfire mapping assessment tool.
Good.
To bring them up to speed on the effects that is going to have in the near future. So that is my update.
All right, so I guess I'm the last one. So the only thing I can tell you is that if you've been in the courthouse and you smell that pumpkin spice smell, it's real strong. Well, we caught Rabia putting the pumpkin spice scent in a bunch of the stuff there. I've made a personnel complaint.
The culprit has been found.
So we'll see how that complaint of mine pans out, but I'm trying to put a stop to it because I am not a pumpkin spice guy. So it is. Anyway.
That is a call to action for everybody to bring your extra candles to the county, and we will make good use of them in somebody's office.
That's all I have, and it is 7:47, and we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone.
How about the proclamation?
Oh, we passed it.
Yep.
Oh, you did?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Done.